Are people that are mentally defunct, that like the 2A argument where they say, uh, mentally ill people, and they're just climbing on this mentally ill. Now, are they mentally ill? I would think mentally disabled or mentally ill would be somebody that can't, not necessarily, well, can't carry on a conversation, can't think, or not, can't react. I don't know. Mentally would be possibly that it affects their physical ability. I don't know. But another thing is this mental illness caused by people that aggravate? How they are. Like, say they've grown up in an aggravated environment, and not saying it can't. Just like abused animals. Uh, at first, all their life they've been abused, and so they either attack all the time or they shy away. But if given positive affection and stuff like that, where it's like, well, we're not going to kick you out of the house, we're not going to trade you because of your attitude, we're going to keep you around, and their attitude changes to where they're just a normal dog like all the other dogs. Now, could this be, instead of medicating people, is this what people need? Is okay, we accept you, and and over time, you can see a change in a person, not a fake change, because you could tell fake change where they might be aggressively changing. Uh, they'll change to be aggressive towards your, I don't know, say if I don't know, somebody in sports maybe was non-sports, and then you got them to go sports, and they became extremely aggressive to the point of they wanted to, they're the kind of person that would like accept the challenge of hurting somebody in a game, if that's what was necessary. Now, there's positive, trying to find out, trying to find all the angles of how to break legs or this, that, or the other, how to cripple somebody in, say, football. And they took it on themselves to do that, and they might have bragged about it, or you might have noticed injuries coming from every time they were in contact with somebody. Whether that has anything to do with it or not, I'm just bringing up a point. That of attitude towards something. If somebody's anti against something, and then they automatically boom change. Like you say, these people take these anti-gunners to a range because they've never fired a gun before, and then all of a sudden they, yeah, I'd like it, and would you like to do it again, or would you like to buy a gun, or and to just erase that out of automatic, just automatic say, yeah, I want to buy a gun right now. It's like that's kind of a weird attitude. They'd say, well, after if they was just anti-gun, and then you took them to the range one day and they just became pro-gun, I can understand them changing. I don't know. I've never been anti-gun. I was more like, I don't know. My mindset when I was a child was, before I learned about guns, was like bow and arrow. I mean, child, like, is, 2 years old, stuff like that. My thought was that bow and arrows and knives. It was maybe prehistoric or whatever. I don't know. Then guns came into the effect, but the argument wasn't that. Uh, it was that they were. Well, I don't know. It's just the whole reason behind why society switched from bows and arrows to guns and stuff. Now, I'm not saying bows. I don't. I would just drop a bow and arrow and just start, be a gun grabber. I'm just saying that it's the efficiency, the ability to be more accurate with a gun. But anyway, the instead of medicating people, now I'm sure that just like that Kyle, that guy that those two guys that got shot that was taking that mentally defunct guy to shoot a rifle, and then he shot them both. What was his? What kind of attitude did he have? Was he like, and just accept? And another thing is just accepting people to think, well, I'm going to change this person. Maybe you're not the one that could change them. Maybe they don't have a respect for you, or maybe they need change by somebody they have actual respect for, and they don't just say it. Because you can say you have respect for somebody. A lot of people are like that. If somebody putting pressure on somebody and say, I want respect from you, and you say, yeah, but then you wouldn't really actually respect them. You just respect isn't fear. I mean, it might bring out the word, but it doesn't bring out the actual meaning of it. So anyway, so, instead of medication, and instead of just saying we're going to train this person, not everybody can train it. Just like school, not everybody can teach. And you might go to somebody and say, well, I got trained and trained and trained, and then all of a sudden I met this one person and they trained me, and I was like, wow, it just opened up the whole new door of and that's what it is. And maybe these people that are mentally defunct. And another thing, I'm figuring that these anti-gunners that you see arguing on in videos and where not, they sound mentally defunct. They sound like people that just took somebody else's words and push them forward out knowing what they're saying, and they're not really. It's almost like the anti-gunners have put these people forward. Maybe they're on medication. Maybe they're whatever, or they've been found mentally defunct. And by arguing with them, the people that pushed them at you, and you're sitting there arguing with them, you haven't realized that they're mentally messed up. And it's like, I don't even need to have a conversation with you because you're just kind of weird. You don't sound right in the head to even have a discussion about it with, because basically if you're anti-freedom, anti-rights, there's something wrong with you. I mean, if you're against somebody having the rights that that this government, when it was formed, actually acknowledged the people to have, and you're against that, there's something wrong with you. And now, like. And the 2A, the Second Amendment was in with 17, or very like 1790, 1790. So it was right at the time. It's not like the 16th Amendment was put into effect in 1901 because the government thought, well, we can get more money from people, or whatever it was put in 1917, 1901, 1917, something like that, right before World War One, and they're thinking, well, if we have to ramp up to a war, we don't really have the funds, and so that's what I'm thinking. It's just something like that. We don't really need the 16th Amendment. It was ramped up, and then they was just going to use it for a while, and they have never backed off, and so we're stuck with it. And by them pushing that forward, all the other taxes that they start dumping on. I mean, I got so many. If you look at your phone bill, look at all the taxes on a phone bill. Look at all the taxes on all the stuff that is, mill tax and this and all the stuff that is taken out of state tax and low and everything. And they're just little by little, they're just taxing the hell out of everybody, just because that 16th Amendment started. They're jumping right back on the hay wagon of what we basically acted against. They, the forefathers and them, acted against the British for just arbitrarily trying to derail any anybody of being leaders in a country. I mean, maybe they were saying, well, I'm a leader of this county, and the king's people. Well, I don't want them being thinking they're leaders. There's only one, and it's king, and and so maybe it's anyway. So uh, all these anti-gun people that you argue against, it don't sound right. I mean, why argue with them? You're gonna what? Tell a You're going to discuss with a mentally defunct person that you're gonna switch their mind into saying, oh yeah, maybe guns are good, and maybe in their head is thinking, well, yeah, why wouldn't I disagree with this? I could get a gun if I agree with this. I could I could be considered stable, buy a gun, and do whatever I want with it, and then prove to all these pro gunners that you know I was a pro gun. I used to be anti-gun, but now I'm pro-gun, and then I could go out and commit a crime, and then it would rule against pro-gun, and that would be the anti-gun argument. I mean, is that what these shooters are? Is there used to be anti-gun when they were younger, and somebody took them to the range. They bought guns or something like that, and maybe the kid was like, oh, like the kid that did that shooting in Connecticut. He was trained by his parents or his mother or whatever. Now maybe she was saying, well, who knows what happened? But I'm just saying, uh, why argue against people that are against rights, against freedom? Maybe that's what you say. Oh, so you're pro-gun? Well, I'm at. Oh, so you're against freedom, and that should just shut them up right away. And if it doesn't, then you're in an argument with an insane person, and you're probably in an argument with an insane person anyway because they don't make sense. Now they might have been raised in a liberal household where they're all anti-gun, and they've never had a pro-gun argument. And I can understand that, but why argue? Why not just have points automatically to say instead of just hand them a card. Here's some pro-gun points, and just everybody just agrees with these points in the pro 2A community. I just don't understand why people would be against freedoms and rights. That's what I don't understand.